Hokage, the civilian Genjutsu master who can read minds. Please like, share, and subscribe. Episode 81 Assassination Techniques. Puff. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly took out a kunai, waited for Hayakawa Chunin to finish his lunch, and then passed it through his chest. I'm sorry, Amaba, amen. The art of reading minds. While his nerve signals were still active, Fei Zhu and Dragonfly's spirit traveled through a time tunnel, searching for the other party's memory. After a while, he had absorbed most of the memories. It's already Enin Wu, seal up. The scroll around his waist opened, and the runes quickly poured out, pulling Hayakawa's body in. A corpse character appeared in the center. Change. With a bang sound, the flying bamboo dragonfly turned into Hayakawa's appearance. Genjutsu fraud. Another genjutsu for you whose art of freedom, blessed on the body. This technique is the genjutsu he developed over 5 days. It can deceive outside detection. All chakra detections will automatically feed back the chakra information he collected. Since the development of this technique was completed, these days I am looking for a suitable target. After a month of observation, Flying Bamboo Dragonfly had a very thorough understanding of Chunin's life trajectory, position, people he came into contact with, and interpersonal relationships in this Yuin village. There is also the chakra information of the other party, which is also learned during the process. With the addition of mind-reading skills, it can be said that, except for those who are very familiar with him, he is Hayakawa. But Fei Zhu Dragonfly's goal is to find him who has ordinary interpersonal relationships. Commoner origin, the most familiar relationship is his boss and his 3 subordinates. The life trajectory is also simple. As a team leader Chunin, my daily routine is to lead the team to perform tasks. It also let Fei Zhu Dragonfly know more information about Yuin village. In the past, the country was closed to the outside world. Even he, the Konoha Jonin, knew very little about Amagakure village. Now I have some understanding. Yuin village is a ninja village that is very advanced in assassination and is deeply loved by forces from all over the world. Therefore, it has been vigorously developed. They do not have the various mission resources of the 5 major ninja villages. However, it has much more resources for assassination missions than other villages. This reminded him of the existence of Asuma, Jilu, and others who protect the 12 ninjas. I am afraid that many of the ninjas from Amagakure village were hired to fight among the daimyo and nobles. The person Hayakawa assassinated last time was a minor noble from the Kingdom of Birds. This shows that Amagakure village has a lot of secret mission resources. No wonder Conan claims to have 600 billion detonating symbols. In addition to Kakuzu's diligence, I'm afraid Data still supports him from his base in Yuin village. Well, next I will be Captain Hayakawa of Amagakure village Chunin. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly picked up the special ninja tool placed aside, a ninja tool similar to an umbrella. Through memory, this thing combined with Hayakawa's unique ninjutsu is perfect for assassination at some point. Yuin village attaches great importance to the development of individual abilities. The so-called leading Chunin is just to lead the newly minted ninja to adapt to the mission that has just begun. It is more of a personal assassination of the mission target. There are very few cases of team assassination. Therefore, every ninja promoted to Chunin has his own unique assassination method. Next, he needs to become familiar with Hayakawa's behavior pattern, and then he can slowly start espionage activities. I also want to see if my espionage ability can surpass Jiraiya in some aspects. This is fun. Phew. Over Konoha, a flying eagle landed on the shelf of the Konoha Communications Department. The ninjas of the Communications Department took down the information. After deciphering the coded information, they brought the information to the Hokage office. Hiruzen, you, the leader of the analysis team, are truly an amazing spy. Do you really not want to consider handing him over to me? It must be more valuable than leaving it in your hands. Shimura Danzo said. After more than 2 months of exploration by Fei Bamboo Dragonfly, more and more information has been returned, and we have a better understanding of Yuin village. This made Danzo appreciate Flying Bamboo Dragonfly's ability very much. This person's espionage ability, at this moment, in his heart, was already a rare elite. If he could hold it in his hands, his intelligence power would definitely bring huge benefits to Konoha. Don't think that these are not possible, it's impossible. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know what kind of person this old friend was, but at the root, he just made Fei Zhu Dragonfly a tool man who would do anything for the mission. Sarutobi Hiruzen read the information sent back by Flying Bamboo Dragonfly. The current leader of Amagakure village calls himself a god. He rarely appears among the ninjas of Amagakure village. He is more likely to be a subordinate of God, a man named Angel. Ninja leadership, Sancho Fish Hanzo is dead. The information in his hand made him frown. After being called the first generation, the strongest ninja demigod Sancho Hanzo actually died during the Third World War and was called a god by a guy. Hanzo is so tricky that all ninjas who have experienced World War II know how powerful he is. If he really died fighting the guy who is now called a god, then it would not matter if the leader of Amagakure village is really called a god. Pass. It seems that the Rain country, which once started World War II, has given birth to a powerful ninja again. Danzo thought of the boy with samsara eyes, his eyes dark. How could such a powerful force be in the hands of the enemy? It must be killed to avoid threatening Konoha. It's almost time. He has cracked the Yuin village's perception ability, and has quietly sent spies to enter, find him, kill him, and steal his eyes. Danzo, your 2 men can call them back. Dragonfly has successfully penetrated into the hidden Rain village. Don't stay too long for the enemy to find out and affect Dragonfly's intelligence collection. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about it. Ordered Danzo. He was careless. He didn't expect that the enemy's perception covered the entire kingdom of Rain, and even more people were useless. Danzo, no, since they haven't been discovered for so long, it means there is no need to worry about it. Instead, I think it is better for them to stay there. If the flying bamboo dragonfly steals information and is discovered by the enemy, they can provide timely support. Give him a chance to send the information back. Sarutobi Hiruzen pondered for a while, then let them be quiet and don't do anything excessive. He knew that Danzo was unscrupulous in order to achieve his goals, so he gave many warnings. Danzo nodded, but he didn't think so. Anyway, except for those 2, he had already sent several teams of ninjas to infiltrate after cracking the sense of ninjutsu in Hidden Rain Village. Wow, the 2 babies, Tanyu and Maki, were holding flying bamboo dragonfly figurines in their hands. They couldn't put it down and made babbling sounds as they enjoyed their mother's feeding. More than 3 months have passed, and the 2 babies have become more and more adorable, no longer as wrinkled as they were when they were born. Suddenly, both babies made ooh sounds. Chongpu was confused. Wasn't he already drinking breast milk? Wow, 2 parrot-like birds appeared from the window, and the baby looked at them with wide eyes. Peace, peace, everything is safe, don't worry. The parrot said. Then it landed in front of Iris and turned into 2 bamboo figurines. Wow, the 2 babies suddenly laughed. Really, I have never laughed so happily after feeding you every day. Your father will laugh when there is news, right? Chongpu saw the parrot turned into a figure, and understood that the flying bamboo dragonfly was safe, and felt much more at ease. But looking at the 2 babbling little guys, I suddenly became jealous. Wait until you come back and see if I don't take care of you. Episode 82 Turmoil, Yuin Village. On the 100-meter-high tower. The girl's hair color is light blue-purple, with a bun hairstyle, and she wears a light blue paper flower on the right side of her head. Her eye color is light orange, her face is delicate, she wears light purple eyeshadow, and there are lip nails tattooed on the lower end of her lips. Wearing a black trench coat embroidered with white-edged red cloud patterns, light purple tight trousers, a zippered backless top, a ring on her belly button, and a forehead protector from the Hidden Rain Village tied to the right side of her waist. She stood on the edge of the tower and looked down at someone in Yuin Village. She was particularly calm in the rain and mist falling from the sky. Suddenly, his brows furrowed slightly. Turning around and walking towards the top of the tower, a thin figure appeared with a black stick stuck in his body, and his eyes were circles. Nagato, someone has sneaked into the village. Conan said. Just now, she sensed an aura that did not belong to Yuin Village. It seemed that there were always people who were not afraid of death. After hearing this, Nagato put his perception on the Rain Tiger Free technique. After a while, he said, it seems that my Rain Tiger Free technique has been cracked by a capable person. Are they those ninjas who don't know what pain is? Conan, activate the command and find those people. Yes. Conan nodded, leaving a paper clone to take care of Nagato, walked out of the space, slowly spread his wings in the rain, and flew towards the Yuin Village Government Order Release Center. And in the 4 directions of Yuin Village, 4 figures with black sticks stuck in their bodies slowly opened their eyes. Whoosh! Start patrolling in Yuin Village. Some foreign ninjas have sneaked in and led the team to find them. When they find the enemy, they immediately send a signal. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly was resting and practicing Hayakawa's ninjutsu and taijutsu movements when he suddenly received an order from his superior. This gave him a beating. Was he discovered? It doesn't make sense. He has been infiltrating for so long, he could be discovered, he would have been discovered long ago, and everything about Hayakawa was clearly imitated by him. Without directly confronting Nagato and the others, he was confident that he would not be discovered. Could it be that they discovered the iron wire? Flying Bamboo Dragonfly frowned. He wouldn't say that those 2 guys from Danzo had done something wrong, right? Recalling what Taisien had reported to him before, he felt very unhappy. Danzo was really a bad teammate. It must be the good deeds of Danzo's 2 men. His own disciples, if nothing else, will never disobey his orders. Picking up the ninja tool, Flying Bamboo Dragonfly notified the Hayakawa team in Yuin Village and quickly rushed to the meeting place. Now that he is a Chunin from Hidden Rain Village, he can just take advantage of the training search opportunity to find out what is going on. Whoosh! Passing by the streets of Yuin Village, you can see that many ninjas are in action, and even ordinary people are helping to patrol. As far as the perception of Flying Bamboo Dragonfly is concerned, this cohesion is not ordinary. Call out. At this moment, he saw a giant bird flying in the sky, with round eyes, soaring over Yuin Village. His eyes scanned everything below him from time to time. Is this all hands on deck? Seeing the psychic beast in the animal realm, Faizukingia thought to himself. Going a little further, we found many dogs patrolling with wings, like held dogs like beasts. The Flying Bamboo Dragonfly is ready to escape quickly if it is discovered. In case he is discovered. I'm just a little worried about the iron wire. Don't let it be discovered, otherwise you will have to retreat early and declare the mission a failure. Underground, Dragonfly Squad. On the scroll in front of Song Yun, mice came back from outside one after another and walked onto the blank scroll. How's it going? Yan Kuei asked. Song Yun said, Yuin Village suddenly launched a large-scale search operation. It may be that there is an enemy invasion, or it may be. He didn't finish what he said, but the implication was that Feizu Dragonfly was probably discovered to be conducting espionage activities and was now hiding in Tibet. Thorny Iron Line stared at the two people and found that they didn't look like they were lying, so he made an analysis in his mind. It is very likely that the captain was discovered. Could it be that the captain obtained some important information? But if the captain is discovered, the information should be brought back. There is no movement now, which means that the captain is in crisis. Let's go find him. Song Yun suggested. The information about Flying Bamboo Dragonfly is very important. It must be very important to be searched by the whole village. It is only right to report this information to Danzo-sama. Wait a minute, if the captain is not in danger, our actions will only cause inconvenience to him. I think we should wait. Thorny Iron Line said. He remembered that the teacher's methods could not be discovered so easily, and if discovered, they could not be caught so easily. As a Chunin, he is already a qualified captain, and the judgment he made at this time is reasonable. If he is the captain, he also hopes that his teammates can stay here safely instead of looking for others and increasing the risk of exposure. Yan Kuei and Song Yun looked at each other and thought of a possibility. The information has been brought back to Danzo-sama for so long. Maybe it has cracked the perception of Amagakure village. Ninjutsu, the current person may be sent by Danzo-sama. Bang! Puff! Kunai flew past, and a ninja wearing a rainproof cloak from Yuin Village was pierced through the chest. Conan's figure slowly floated down in the sky. Pulling open his cloak, there was a strange figure inside, without a forehead protector and nothing but a ninja tool. The brain is also destroyed by itself. This familiar method made Conan look angry. Konoha, ninja. This was not the first time that this method had been used, and it was impossible to hide it from her. Moreover, Yahiko was deceived by these people, which led to his death. Lord Angel. At this time, several Hidden Village ninjas fell around her, looking at Conan with reverence. So awesome, the spy was found so quickly, he is worthy of being a messenger of God. Conan, this is just one of them. There are other questions sneaking in. Don't let anyone suspicious. After saying that, everyone's eyes flew away. Whoosh. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly came here with his team members, looked at the body lying on the ground, and frowned. Captain Hayakawa, you are worthy of being an angel. You have defeated another enemy who coveted my Yuin village. Behind him, a boy of about 12 years old showed reverence in his eyes. The tone was all adoration. So did the other two. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly also pretended to nod, that's natural. Lord Angel is a messenger of God. It's not surprising that he can do such a thing. In my heart, there are 800 grandma selling batches. In his perception, although there are no visual clues about the corpse on the ground, based on the remaining chakra, the method of suicide, and based on the situation he is in, anyone connected to the mission can also deduce that this guy is determined it's Danzo's subordinate. Sure enough, he is a pig teammate. Although he has contributed to Konoha, he has caused more serious damage to Konoha. It is not unfair at all to be called a guy who cannot be cleansed. The important thing is that it broke his plan. Despite my expectations, I was still disgusted. Episode 83 Uzumaki, Whoosh. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly follows the ninjas of Amagakure village, searching everywhere as Hayakawa. At the same time, he did not forget to secretly observe the movements of Conan and the 6 pass puppets. Avoid tall towers with possible long gates. Such a big movement, with the entire army of Yuin village dispatched, he couldn't even hope to collect any intelligence. I can only honestly think of him as Hayakawa Chunin. But he didn't take action. The actions of Amagakure village and Danzo's actions did not stop. Seems to be noticed, Danzo's men hid tighter, however, he was still picked out by Conan from time to time and killed. Spies fell one by one, the search intensity was beyond imagination, and it seemed that Nagato didn't want too much information to be exposed. This critical moment, Flying Bamboo Dragonfly did not dare to contact his teammates at will, telling them to run quickly. It's only a matter of time before you are exposed like this, so be prepared to run away. With such an intense search, he was not confident that he would be able to remain a Chunin in the Hidden Rain village for long. There were too many secret techniques for capable people in the ninja world. Maybe it would be exposed at some point. So he planned his own escape method. He could fly in the sky, swim in the water, run underground, and go out from the front door openly. Each escape route appeared in his mind. Fortunately we didn't go out rashly, otherwise we would have been dead. Song-Yen looked at the intelligence he had just collected and said to the other two people. Relying on the special characteristics of the Super Beast fake paintings, Fei Zhu and Dragonfly rely on him to collect intelligence when he is not around. Is there any news about the captain? Thorny Ironline asked. Song-Yen shook his head, there was too much movement, so the captain probably didn't dare to send back the information rashly. They all knew that Flying Bamboo Dragonfly had sneaked into Yuin village, but they really didn't know what exactly they were doing. That means our contact has been severed? Yen Kuei. Well, we'll have to rely on ourselves from now on. The captain's barriers technique is so useful. Under this wide range of perception, none of them were discovered. Song-Yen ate the sushi he had stolen before, put it in his mouth, and started chewing. I admire the barriers technique of Flying Bamboo Dragonfly. Just now, he used secret techniques to detect, but if he hadn't been experienced, he wouldn't have been able to escape the enemy's various perceptions. Ninjutsu, the thing left by Fei Bamboo Dragonfly, had avoided the perception of Yuin village. Thorny Iron Wire is worried about the teacher. At the same time, I also felt disappointed in my ability, and I still couldn't share my worries with the teacher. Konoha. Bang. Shimura Danzo hit his fist on the table, hole, you actually failed to infiltrate again. It seems that the other party's perception is not only one way. In front of him was a ninja wearing a root uniform. The information just now was brought by him. The situation of the Rain Hidden Village, and the situation of the ninjas who sneaked into the Rain Hidden Village. For communication, even if there is a sacrifice, all other ways of perception of the enemy must be cracked. He will not give up the power of the Samsara Eye. Half a year has passed. Yuin village. Captain Hayakawa is training again. You're working really hard. I heard you completed another B-level assassination mission. In the training ground, a ninja side to Flying Bamboo Dragonfly. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly put away the kunai and smiled slightly, thanks to God and Lord Angel, there are so many assassination missions in Yuin village. Praise God and Lord Angel. Yes, praise God, praise the Lord Angel. The ninja did the same. Since God replaced Hanzo and settled in Yuin village, their lives have become better. That's the warning. It's been a bit too long. Now every time I go on a mission, I'm afraid that one of my own will stab me. Fei Zukinging said with lingering fear. The ninja, hey, I can't help it, the ninjas in the outer village are so abominable, they actually arranged so many spies. But I heard that the spy is almost done and will be restored soon, that would be great. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly said. It was so unexpected. He has actually stayed in Yuin village for half a year and has not been searched out. Is it because identity is too useful? Over the past year, he has worked diligently as the Chunin of the Hidden Rain village. It just wasn't discovered. He did not expect that Yuin village could persist for half a year and still maintain high-intensity vigilance. It's almost time to go back. Damn it, my son and daughter are almost 1 year old and they miss me so much. He has already collected the general information about Yuin village. Thanks to that movement, many ninjas from Yuin village were knocked out. Give him a chance to observe. With his superb perception ability, he collected what he thought was 80% of the intelligence. He saw 30 jonin alone, more than 500 chunin, and quite a few genin. Although there is quite a lot of water compared to Konoha, it shows that the strength of the Rain Hidden Village cannot be underestimated. There is a little bit of information about Conan and the others. His mission has been completed. There is no need to be more detailed. Originally, the third generation was worried about the civil war in Amagakure village and sent them to complete the mission in order to control the situation. Return home to Yuin village. The Flying Bamboo and Dragonfly Seal unfolded the technique, and a small pangolin walked through the soil and came to the space where his teammates were hiding. General. Thorny Taisian lowered his flag and defeated Yen Kuei directly. The three of them were really bored. Due to the warning in Yuin village, they couldn't go out for a walk or train. Even with special training, I can't withstand being in a dark room for such a long time. So the three of them often play various games. Shogi is one of them. A little pangolin appeared and immediately attracted the attention of the three bored people. Mission accomplished, retreat. The pangolin uttered a sentence, and the three of them glowed golden at the same time. Half a year, do you know how they spent this half year? For Yan Kuei and Song Yun, this was a half year darker than their roots. For Thorny Iron Line, it was the most difficult 6 months since he became a ninja. After packing up everything, the three of them looked at the familiar underground cave with a hint of relief. They left without looking back. At the moment they left the cave, a figure emerged from the ground. Wearing a full-length black windbreaker, his head is wrapped in white scrolls, with only one Sharingan peeking out from inside. It's really interesting. Someone can actually hide for half a year under Nagato's search. What a capable spy. A playful voice came from the mask. We don't need to solve this kind of thing. Let's leave it to Nagato to solve the problem. Look at their appearance. The intelligence mission must have been completed and I have already left Yuin village. Their information should be used as a bargaining chip to make Nagato trust my strength. Another calm voice sounded. Hey, how about we catch them and force them to poop? I really want to know what it feels like to have a bowel movement. I heard that it will be very comfortable after you pull it out. The playful voice said playfully. Calm voice, boring. After a period of distortion, the man in the Uzumaki mask disappeared without a trace. Episode 84, Cutting Off the Road, Yuin Village. Tower. Conan stood at the edge of the tower, a figure with yellow hair, wearing a red cloud uniform with black background, half sitting here. The newly recruited guy is asked to manage the organization's funds. Is it really good? Conan asked Pain. No problem, this guy is a ninja who survived the Warring States period. I think he should be in awe of power. Pen said indifferently. Conan nodded, well, we will definitely fulfill Yahiko's dream. There was some memory in her eyes. Before you complete your plan, I think you should deal with a few Konoha rats. This is a matter for your Yuin village, I think I'd better leave it to you. The Uzumaki man suddenly appeared next to them and spoke. Mouse? Conan and the two looked at him, this guy who called himself Uchiha Madara. The Uzumaki man smiled and said, yes, I came here to discuss something with you, and happened to meet a few Konoha spies. He is probably on his way out of Yuin village now. Well, if you need help, I can also help you. The two of them were stunned and looked at the Uzumaki man. Pain stood up. It seems that there are still capable people in Konoha, who can actually survive such a long-term high-alert search. It's amazing that it hasn't been exposed yet. I also think it's amazing that I can lurk under your perception. The Uzumaki man said with a smile. With the ability to avoid the Uzumaki clan, the power of the Rinnegan, and the search of a village's ninjas, even he was very interested. I wonder if we can recruit them into the Akatsuki organization. Finally, he made a suggestion. Outside Amigakure village, the area close to the border of Konoha. Whoosh! 4 figures moved forward quickly. Thorny Iron Line looked at the border that was about to arrive, with a smile on his face. Teacher, this is amazing. How dare you hide in Yuin village for so long without being discovered? Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, you haven't returned to the village yet, so don't be careless. He had a bad feeling that it wouldn't go so smoothly. Hearing this, Thorny Iron Line and the other 2 teammates did not refute. Thorny Iron Wire trusts the teacher very much. The other 2 trusted Feizu Kingfei's ability and his judgment as Jonin. Phew. After some time. Sudden. The Flying Bamboo Dragonfly stopped. What's wrong? Thorny Iron Wire asked. The other 2 were more perceptive than him and immediately alerted. Well. Since you are here, why go back? Let it be buried in the land of rain as your pure land. In front of them, after a period of distortion, the figure of 6 paths appeared in front of them. The leader was none other than Pain. After receiving the information from Uzumaki Man, all 6 clones were dispatched to prevent accidents. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly sighed, pointed at them and said, Hey, 6 yellow hairs, we have to hurry, why don't you give way? As you know, I hate yellow hair the most. At the same time, his hand made a signal behind him, signaling the 3 people from the Thorn Iron Line to move quickly, and he would hold back the enemy. The 3 people with Thorny Iron Wire understood and moved lightly, preparing to escape. There are 6 people here. You can tell by looking at their uniform yellow hair that they are not easy to fight. The entire army might even be annihilated. And besides the leading man, there was also the uncle-looking man, and the other 4 flying bamboo dragonflies had told them. Those 4 are the main force in dealing with the spies who have sneaked into Yuin village. Huang Mao? Pain looked at the heads of his clones. Are you trying to distract me and let your companions escape? Don't be naive, you will all stay here today. Feiju Dragonfly scratched his head and said to several teammates, you heard it, let's go, I will stop them. Then looked seriously at Pain's 6 paths. He let out a long breath. Obviously I have to go back, alas. Pain, sacrifice yourself to save your teammates? Is it worth it? He thought of Yahiko's tragic situation. Yahiko was also like this back then. But for Yahiko's dream, no matter how similar he behaves, he must die here today. Ever heard of the Will of Fire? Flying Bamboo Dragonfly said. Now that the other party asked such a question, he suddenly wanted to try to see if he could avoid it. Naruto completed the mouth escape so easily, so he should be able to do it too. As for Naruto's stupid mouth, there is no way he is as strong as him. Maybe there will be no 4 battles after the mouth escape. He is the savior who silently saved the ninja world. Pain was confused, not knowing what he wanted to say or what it had to do with what he asked. Of course he had heard of the Will of Fire, Jiraiya often told them about it. He was firm at first, but Hanzo's failure to keep his promise and Yahiko's death changed his mind. And in the dark. The Uzumaki man listened to the conversation between the two, and he was another pathetic person who was deceived by the Will of Fire. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, I didn't expect you to lead the team. At the same time, the man who spoke the Will of Fire was also recognized by him. Do you know him? Another playful voice sounded from under the white Uzumaki mask. Well, I was a classmate in the ninja school. I really didn't expect that he could become a jonin. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly was once in the school's practical class, but even he couldn't compare. Oh, a classmate meets a classmate. I'm going to burst into tears. Do you want to save him? He said playfully. Konoha's affairs have nothing to do with me anymore. My purpose now is to destroy this false world and create a real world. Ah, you are so heartless. The height of the fountain will never exceed its source, and the strength of the ninja will never exceed the belief in their hearts. The Will of Fire is the belief that gives the Konoha ninja power. You have similar beliefs, Huang Mao, Flying Bamboo Dragonfly said. Captain. Thorny Iron Wire was deeply shocked. As expected of a teacher, his understanding of the Will of Fire is truly profound. Song Yan and Yen Kuei were also stunned when they heard this. Pain was stunned when he heard this, and looked at him deeply. That's right, but I can't let you leave. What are you doing standing still? Run away, you too. Fei Bamboo and Dragonfly were speechless. They have reminded me so many times, but you 3 are still standing still? Yes. Swish. The 3 of them used the teleportation technique to leave. All things are guided by heaven. How could Pain let them escape? He raised his right hand lightly. An invisible force burst out, and the 3 of them seemed to be grabbed by the body and flew towards him. What's going on? What power is this? Damn it. When the 3 people approached, he pulled out a black rod from his body and penetrated the 3 people instantly. Ah. The 3 of them screamed. His eyes were wide open. The blood was flowing on the ground, which looked particularly miserable. But their captain, Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, was smiling and had no intention of rescuing. He even clapped his hands and shouted, what an interesting ability. I have never heard of someone like you in Konoha. It is hidden very deep. Fei Bamboo Dragonfly's words stunned Pain. They are your companions. Ah, they are not. If you don't believe it, look at it. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly pointed at the 3 people who fell on the ground. There were no corpses. Only 3 detonating talismans were burning. Episode 85, just do it and it's over. Bang bang bang. Whoosh. At the critical moment, 6 Paths figure suddenly left the place, and the detonating talisman's attack failed. Genjutsu, when? Pain's heart flashed with lightning. Were the words he just said to guide his gaze? Zitzi. The black rod of chakra in the body instantly disrupts the chakra in the body during thoughts. Destroyed the Genjutsu of Flying Bamboo Dragonfly. What an awesome Genjutsu. Where are the others? Pain frowned when he saw that there was only Feiju and Dragonfly, and the other 3 had disappeared. Whoosh. The border between the land of fire and the land of rain. In the air. A black and white painting-like bird carried them towards Konoha. Those guys are so scary. Song Yun was still frightened. Just now, after getting the captain's secret signal, he used ninjutsu and slipped out under the cover of the captain. Using the convenience of his secret technique, he soared in the air and escaped the enemy's sight. But just looking at the enemy a few times made him feel a sense of oppression, as if he was invincible. Who is that person? Are those eyes with wheel marks some kind of blood inheritance limit? Thorny Iron Line asked. You must not disappoint the teacher's expectations and bring the information back. With many years of ninja experience, he also felt tremendous pressure. Those guys are not ordinary people. Yen Kuei, it should be. Anyway, let's return to Konoha quickly. I don't know how long the captain can delay. He didn't have much hope that the flying bamboo dragonfly could drag 6 people away. The quality of root training also feels that the temporary sacrifice is nothing. I have already sent the signal, and someone will come to pick us up soon. There should be no problem. Songyun said. The thorny iron wire wanted to support the teacher, but considering its own strength, it would only be a hindrance in the past. He touched his hand in the hidden pocket of his vest and said, if you can make something like this, the teacher will be fine, right? Boom. Phew. Flying bamboo dragonfly shunned Shirato's missile attack, and fought in close combat with Hungry Kido with the short sword in his hand. That black rod has the ability to disrupt chakra, and it's also a signal transmitter connected to Nagato's body. It's really troublesome. Clang. Instant body technique and physical technique, extreme application. Blocks close attacks from Human Path, Hungry Kido, and Shura Path. Only after experiencing it personally did Feiju Dragonfly know how difficult 6 paths is. Just knowing the information made him restrained. Hungry Kido's absorption chakra. The human world absorbs souls. A humanoid robot from Shura Dao. There is also Tian Dao on the side with the help of Wanxiang Tianin and other assistants, which is simply more yin than stagnant water. With 6 paths Pain's reaction ability, the effect that ordinary Genjutsu can have will be disrupted and destroyed by the chakra black rod in his body in less than 1/10 of a second. When you are already on alert, the opponent's Hungry Kido has abilities that even normal Genjutsu will not work. Yin Yinmeo, the black rod of the human world penetrated the chest of Fei Bamboo Dragonfly and passed through it. But it made the sound of cracking and piercing the machine. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly smiled slightly, backed away instantly, and quickly formed seals with his hands. Pain stared at it from a distance. The speed of forming seals is so fast. You can seize the moment when the human world attacks and cast Genjutsu, so that the human world has no time to disrupt the chakra and break the Genjutsu. This nervous reaction is not that of an ordinary ninja. As for Shura Dao, one arm was shattered by the sight distance Genjutsu used by Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, and the human Dao that disrupted the field of vision. Zitzi. Electric sparks appeared at the connection point of the severed hands. It's not over yet. Earth-style Earth Thorn, the flying bamboo dragonfly pressed down on the ground, and dozens of ground thorns were inserted all over Shura Dao's body. Phew. After finishing, he took out the kunai mixed with the detonating talisman from his ninja tool bag and flew towards the Shura path. Shenra Tianjing. Pain flicked all his kunai away. I'll let you play. Flying bamboo dragonfly caught the opportunity for him to use Shinra Tianjing, and raised his hand to create a 8 incense of fire. He knew that the 6 paths shared a common vision, and it was hard to miss the mark. And the senses will be transmitted back to Nagato. Even if you crack the chakra black stick quickly, it will still take time. This little time is enough to induce discomfort in the other party's taste nerve. Whoosh. Hungry Kido came behind him and raised his hand to press on the flying bamboo dragonfly in the seal. He was answered with a smile. Bang. A piece of wood replaced the flying bamboo dragonfly. Substitution. Inside a big tree, Nagato suddenly vomited and felt very uncomfortable. Vomit. 6 paths Pain is just a puppet, and only Nagato can feel the body's senses, so he has to bear it. The 6 paths puppet was visible to the naked eye by half a beat. What's wrong with Nagato? Conan looked at the uncomfortable Nagato and asked. It's that guy's ninjutsu, what a powerful guy. Nagato had to admire this man's strength and accomplishments. Phew. For a moment, 6 paths Pain only had a slight upper hand under the stubborn resistance of Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, mainly 6 against 1. The Shura Dao, who was killed by the Flying Bamboo Dragonfly's Genjutsu, was dragged back by the scoundrel Hell Dao, chewed a few mouthfuls and spit it out intact. If he hadn't been able to form seals with one hand and was very fast, Genjutsu wouldn't be able to break it as fast as his opponent. Shenra Tianjing. After testing the ability of the Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, Pain didn't want to wait any longer. There were still a few guys who couldn't let them escape back to Konoha. With Pain as the center, a huge invisible force burst out and surged towards the Flying Bamboo Dragonfly. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly wanted to use sight-range Genjutsu to make his vision appear at a distance that would never reach him, but found that it had no effect. Bang! He was hit. His chest, facial features, internal organs, and skin were hit by invisible heavy hammers. Phew! Shura Dao's missiles followed closely. Genjutsu self-healing. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly used Genjutsu on itself, tricking its own cells, nerves, platelets, and other tissues to heal itself in the direction it was a minute ago. He took another soldier grain pill into his mouth. Replenish nutrients to repair the body. Then with the help of the power of Shinra Tianjing, quickly retreat, retreat, retreat. Until Shenluo Tianjing couldn't hit it, Shura Dao's missiles couldn't hit it. Did you make a mistake? I thought playing ninjutsu would be good, and I could also play genjutsu. It's really a bug in ninjutsu. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly lamented that the Samsara Eye is so useful. In this case, I'm going to make a bigger move. The art of reading minds, you. Puff. A wooden stick flew in the air, and under Song Yan's frightened control, they avoided the attack, but the flying bird under them was hit and turned into a pile of ink. 3 people also fell from the height. With sharp eyes, they immediately saw a figure. The white Uzumaki mask watched them fall quietly. Swish. The 3 of them landed gently on the treetops. Who is it? Don't worry about anyone. The dead don't need to know anyway. The Uzumaki man tied his hands with long chains and looked at the 3 of them with expressionless expressions. It's really a waste to put the Rinnegan on him. He was fooled by such a level of genjutsu. A playful voice sounded in the Uzumaki man's ears, with deep dissatisfaction. Yeah, if I hadn't helped them, they might have escaped back. The Uzumaki man said. Episode 86 Tongtian Dynasty. Yahiko is dead, do I really need to live? So what if I defeat the world? I will never return to the world with Yahiko. It's better to go to the Pure Land to accompany him. Let him go back, beat him to death, hurt him, then wouldn't I become a sin in the world? Forget it if you die, this world has no meaning anymore. War, I don't want to experience war again, I'd better die. Where Nagato was, the look in his eyes gradually dimmed, and a deathly aura filled the air from his eyes. Conan noticed something was wrong immediately. Nagato, what's wrong with you? I want to die, Conan, kill me, and let me accompany Yahiko. Nagato said. Conan was shocked when he heard this. What's going on? Why did Nagato, a good man, suddenly become like this? Something is wrong. Hey, I got hit, then it's my turn. Seeing the 6 bodies, their eyes filled with a lifeless aura, Fey Bamboo Dragonfly smiled at the corner of his mouth. This move has a learning difficulty of A+, in his mind. But the power is not that great. Why use the mind-reading technique, depression, instead of pain, sadness, and other emotions, just because this method is the most practical? Pain and sadness can cause people to burst out with huge energy, such as the protagonists in those novels. At this stage, Nagato is undoubtedly the protagonist. The art of reading minds, you. This technique will make people's emotions sink into an unprecedented depression. In this kind of mood, let alone cracking genjutsu, they don't even want to move. This is also the reason why 3rd generation asked him not to use it on his companions before. If his companions were hit by the trick and couldn't get out of this mood, it would be over. If you really fall into this kind of emotion, it will be difficult to get out without a steely will. The longer it takes to be infected, the deeper this emotion takes root mentally. Even if you crack genjutsu by then, this emotion will continue to accompany you. It would be even more difficult to crack it that way. Pen 6 Paths, being able to accept the sharing of senses from all clones is not necessarily a good thing. The corners of his mouth quirked up. He quickly formed seals with his hands, and he didn't dare to waste time. Wind escape, great breakthrough. Whoosh. The ground was lifted and trees were uprooted. Kaka. Tree trunks and branches were broken into sections. When it fell on 6 Paths Pain, the first thing that was hit was his clothes. In just a moment, the uniform with black background and red clouds was cut into pieces. The hair was shaved bald, and the skin was cracked even after holding on for a while. Parts of Shura Dao's mechanical body were also thrown away. Tiandao's body was obviously stronger. Under this attack, his skin was just distorted. The long strip underneath didn't break even if it was tossed around. It's over. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly breathed a sigh of relief, he only had half of the chakra left. After just fighting for a while, God knows how many ninjutsu and genjutsu he used. Fortunately, he is not Kakashi, and there is no Sharingan. On the edge of the battlefield, on a big tree, a vague face appeared, shaped like a lantern. What kind of technique was that just now? Genjutsu? Pain and 6 Paths all lost control in an instant? Ju's face was full of surprise. There is no doubt about the strength of Pain 6 Paths, but now they are like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. It seems that we need to investigate this person more to prevent the plan from going wrong. Phew. Bang bang bang. Clang clang clang. Shuriken and kunai fell to the ground. Burnt woods. And the breathless thorny iron wire trio. Looking at the enemy on the opposite side, he was more solemn than ever. What happened just now? Hitting the body had no effect at all? Thorny Iron Line said. Facing the new enemy, the 3 of them continued to cooperate. With less than tacit cooperation, they seized the opportunity to fight 3 against 1, allowing the Fuma Shuriken with thorny iron wires to hit the enemy. But the attack penetrated the enemy's body, as if entering another space. Yankue, it should be space system ninjutsu, be careful. And the other person's eyes are Uchiha Sharingan, just this made the three of them solemn. How come the people from Uchiha are here, and they seem to be related to the people from Yuin village? I'm a bit capable, but next, I'm going to get serious. The Uzumaki man formed a seal and spit out a mouthful of fire. Whoosh! So strong. The three people quickly retreated and avoided the attack. Wherever the flames passed, explosions broke out. Genjutsu magic shackle technique. Suddenly, the three of them were pulled into the Genjutsu space and placed on a wedge. Goodbye, no, not goodbye. The Uzumaki man looked at the three people who could not move, stretched out a wooden stick from his palm, and came to Yankue. Puff. The chest was penetrated. His heart was exploded, and Yankue's blood vessels lost supply pressure and gushed out from the outlet in his chest. His eyes slowly closed. 1. The Uzumaki man came to the thorn iron wire again and inserted the wooden pole in his hand. Crucial moment. Thorny iron wire opened his eyes, channeled a special knife-like ninja tool, and slashed at his neck. It seems they are going to die together. The Uzumaki man has a winning chance, so it is naturally impossible for him to do such a thing, and his ability is activated. The ninja tool, with thorns and iron wires passed through his neck. The Uzumaki man's wooden rod also passed through the chest of the thorn wire. Both men were unhurt. The thorn iron wire quickly retreated, channeled two huge wind demon shurikens, and threw them out. After the enemy penetrated the enemy, he took the opportunity to come to Song Yun and help him crack the Genjutsu. Damn it, Yankue is dead, when will the support you mentioned arrive? Thorny Iron Thread asked solemnly. Fortunately, his teacher once told him that ordinary disruptive chakra cannot be broken when faced with Sharingan or that kind of Genjutsu master. Taught him how to break Sharingan Genjutsu. The enemy in front of him is too strong, and his abilities are too abnormal. It is strong in fire style, strong in Genjutsu, and has the ability to ignore attacks. Which Uchiha is it? Song Yun said expressionlessly, there are still a few minutes, it should be here. Damn, we may not be able to hold on for even 1 minute. Thorny Iron Wire complained. You're really capable, you can actually break my Sharingan Genjutsu. The Uzumaki man praised. At least I also have mastered Genjutsu as my teacher. It would be strange if I can't crack it. Thorny Iron Line. If we can delay a little longer, maybe support will arrive. That's right. Being able to draw the gods of Amagakure village into Genjutsu can also be called a Genjutsu master. The Uzumaki man admired this. Sharingan is the strongest Genjutsu power in the world. It is amazing that an ordinary person without blood stains can crack it. But that's all. He also saw that the other party seemed to want to delay the time and did not continue chatting with the other party. Whoosh. Form a seal, to cast a spell. The overwhelming wooden poles were thrust towards the two of them. Don't talk about martial ethics. Thorny Iron Wire and Song Yun quickly avoided each other, and at the same time, they also channeled countless special shurikens, flying towards him overwhelmingly. Wind escape, the air currents are dancing wildly. The seal releases ninjutsu. Suddenly, with the blessing of ninjutsu, the shuriken in the air has a greatly increased cutting ability, and its flight trajectory follows a unique route. Collision with subsequent wooden poles. He took out what the teacher had given him in the Hidden Rain village from the hidden pocket in his vest. A pentagon, half a palm-sized token. It says, flying bamboos and dragonflies reach the heavens. Episode 87 I am the only one in heaven and on earth, teacher, please don't fool me. The token in his hand was taught to him by his teacher. The thorny iron wire still remembers the teacher telling him about the shocking effect. The iron wire, this thing was made when I was a spy in Amagakure village and I didn't have the space to practice other noisy ninjutsu. It is a one-time ninja tool, called Tonshiandai. To make one, you need to stay awake for half a month. It will abolish the old sin. The ability is also very simple. When you encounter an opponent you can't match and you still have a chance to use it, just try it. It contains the teacher's lifelong combat experience. When you activate it and accept it, you can temporarily gain the teacher's lifelong combat intuition and temporarily increase your reaction nerve activity. Don't use it indiscriminately. The difficulty of making this thing is no less than creating an S-class ninjutsu. God knows how shocked he was at that time, especially at the teacher's understatement. A ninja tool that can seal a lifetime of combat experience, even if it is a one-time use, can be imagined how powerful it is. Combat experience represents the strength of a ninja, and now he can actually lend it to others, which is a big shock. And the difficulty of making it is comparable to creating an S-level ninjutsu. You can imagine how difficult it is to create this technique. Thorny Iron Wire looked at the enemy who was still attacking with magic, and activated the ninja tool without hesitation. Wow. The large characters of the token flash with blue light at the moment when chakra is injected. A chakra that did not belong to him spread rapidly along his own chakra, and finally connected with his brain. Create a Genjutsu space and connect with the spirit of the thorn wire. At the same time, a wave of confidence surged into my heart. This guy can fight. Huh? It seems that a remarkable change has occurred. The Uzumaki man keenly sensed the change in the other party. The thorny iron line formed a seal with both hands and said to his teammates, Song-yun, assist me. Song-yun originally wanted to sneak away, but the changes in the thorn iron wire and the upcoming support stopped him from thinking. On the blank scroll, several ferocious beasts were quickly drawn and attacked the enemy. Whoosh! At the junction of fire and rain, a dozen figures moved quickly. Song-yun has received a lot of intelligence, but there may be enemies chasing him now, so we must support him quickly. The leader ordered his men to move faster. Phew! Pen's field. Whoosh! Just when the flying bamboo dragonfly great breakthrough was about to destroy 6 paths, Tiandao's eyes suddenly changed. He raised his hand slightly, and the invisible force blocked the great breakthrough's attack. Then push back and fly the bamboo dragonfly. Whoosh! I won't fall for the same trick twice. Flying bamboo dragonfly activated his eye-catching hand, and a huge flying eagle lifted him up into the sky. Looking at Tiandao Pain, I scratched my head a little, but he actually came out of that emotion. He is indeed a man who wants to change the world. At the same time, the formation of perception, a radius of more than 10 kilometers is brought into the mind, and the chakra of different creatures comes into the mind. Nagato's true body was not found. No wonder there were so many Hyuga ninjas in Konoha in the original novel, but Nagato's hidden true body was not found. It seems that the barrier's technique that blocks perception was applied where he stayed. Thorny iron wire and others were not within the sensing range, and seemed to have escaped. Then there's no need to continue fighting. 500,000 a month, what's the point of risking your life? Riding the eagle will fly away. Come here, accept God's punishment. He wanted to leave, but pain didn't allow it. The huge gravity pulled his figure and dragged him downwards. Next to pain, there was only one head and one hand left in the hell path, which summoned a huge head and sucked all the damaged 6 paths of pain into its mouth. Click. Click. After a while, it was spit out again intact. Hey, stop fighting. I don't want to fight. Can you stop? The figure of the flying bamboo dragonfly dropped rapidly, and its mouth kept buzzing. He took out a scroll from his waistcoat and expanded it with a bang, and a stone character appeared in the center. My wife is very rich, let me smash you to death. Storage scrolls are quite expensive, but Feiju Dragonfly still prepared many scrolls containing different things. After casting the spell, a 5-meter rock appeared below him and was sucked down instead of him. Take this opportunity, the flying bamboo dragonfly controls the flying eagle to increase its flying height. He doesn't have the super strong body of Naruto's tail beast, so he is already prepared to face this kind of ninjutsu. With excellent nerve reflexes, Pain Tiandao's moves are fast, but he is also very fast. The appearance of the boulder made Pain frown. As a last resort, he could only use Shinra Tianjin to bounce the boulder away. Boom. Does he have our intelligence, or is he prepared to prevent future troubles? From just now, he discovered that the opponent's abilities were all ordinary except for the move that made people sink. However, during the battle, facing 6 against 1, they hit him at every point that made him uncomfortable. It seems that he has been prepared for it. The abilities of Hungry Kido and Human World were not used even once. The Beast Path is also unsuitable for use due to the close combat of Flying Bamboo Dragonfly and the confrontation of Genjutsu. Now even his Vientian Heavenly Guide has been cracked by the opponent with a stone. Various signs indicate that the opponent's materials are superior to those of the first. No matter what, we can't let the other party run away. The seal of the animal path cast a psychic spell, and bang 2 huge psychic beasts, the Yata bird and the Cerberus, appeared, carrying Pain's 6 paths into the sky, chasing the flying bamboo dragonfly. Hey, I'm about to run away, you're just chasing me, do you know how to be polite? Sensing the pursuit of soldiers behind them, Feiju Dragonfly kept complaining backwards. Join our organization. You are very capable. As long as you join us, I will let you go. Pain took a fancy to the other party's ability. This is no ordinary ninja. Bah, who wants to join you? 6 of them will fight 1, and the more will bully, the less. I won't accept it. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly saw 2 giant beasts on the other side, and got 2 more helpers. That dog's abilities are a bit outrageous, so we can't continue the fight. Chakra is less than half left, so it's important to run away quickly. Then, go and die, Wanxiang Tianin. I'll smash it. Missile attack. If the wind escapes, I will block it. Use more to defeat less. Your organization is not very good at first glance. If you keep up with me, I will use my unique skills to kill you together. Feiju Dragonfly shouted. That's almost it. The flying bamboo dragonfly turned to face them, standing on one foot independently, looking up at the sky at a 45 degrees angle, pointing to the sky with its left hand and pointing to the ground with its right hand. I am the only one in heaven and earth. The weird movements and loud mouth made Pain hesitate for a moment. Is it really a trick to kill each other? Just now, he had speculated that the other party had his own information, but the movements of Fei Bamboo Dragonfly at this moment caused his hesitation. And the previous move, the addictive Genjutsu, might have fallen into his hands if Conan hadn't helped to break it. Even so, he was still surrounded by that sinking negative emotion. It can threaten the body. Episode 88 Infinite Space. Tian Dao has prepared the Shinra Tensei, and can deflect the flying bamboo dragonfly's Genjutsu at any time. Hungry Kido also prepared the Seal Jutsu Seal, to prevent the enemy's super powerful ninjutsu. Cerberus crossed between them, preparing to use the ability of amplified psychic skills to block the flying bamboo dragonfly's ultimate move. The Hell Realm is ready to resurrect other puppets. Shura Dao opened his head and concentrated the laser cannon, hoping to blow up the opponent before he attacked. Human World stood aside and watched the show. Here comes the dark line. When the flying bamboo dragonfly Genjutsu is ready, Shura Dao's attack has just been activated. Boom! The laser attacked at a desperate speed. The flying bamboo dragonfly that was performing Genjutsu was instantly penetrated at the waist. Only a few skins were left connected to its waist, and its belly disappeared without a trace. But the Genjutsu of flying bamboo dragonfly was also completed, and a darkness spread across the sky. In Pain's 6 paths, only Hungry Kido absorbed the Genjutsu chakra that continued to attack. He was not hit and could maintain normal sight. The other 5 paths were all plunged into darkness, and even the heavenly path's Shinra Tenjing only blocked it for a moment. While the Shinra Tenjing was recovering, the chakra of the dark path continued to erode towards him. But it's enough. Having Kido's vision is equivalent to not being blind. Kido looked towards the flying bamboo dragonfly. The flying eagle had turned into a figure and fell from the sky, and the enemy's remains gradually fell from the air. Whoosh! Control the Yata bird to catch the flying bamboo dragonfly and look at the bandage wrapping its head. I didn't expect that there are such talents in Konoha. Tian Dao murmured to himself. Suddenly, the corners of the dead body's mouth actually curled up. Infinite space, sealed. Not good. Pain felt bad. But it was too late. The moment the corpse opened its mouth, the bandage on the entire head instantly turned into an infinite stream of light, surrounding the defense for 20 meters, forming a huge round sphere that enveloped Pain's 6 paths. Pain wants to use Shinra Tianjing and Sealing Seal to break the enemy's trap. Click. The influx of massive amounts of information overloaded his brain, making information processing ineffective. All aspects of vision, hearing, touch, smell, etc. were disrupted by the sudden but continuous flow of information. Pain had an extreme experience of being unable to see anything, feeling nothing, seeing everything, feeling everything. This distortion of perception makes all 6 paths, including psychic beasts, unable to accurately judge the surrounding situation and enter a state of confusion and powerlessness. Under the round sphere, the flying bamboo dragonfly saw that the trap was working, a smile appeared on its lips, and its pale blue misty eyes were particularly bright. He scratched the white hair on his head and took off the bandage, but he was still a little uncomfortable. Just now, it was his special clone that had been transformed by the eye-touching hand. Before the attack of the Shura Dao, that is, the moment the Darkness Act was activated, the main body slipped below. This move uses sealing techniques to seal his ultimate 5 senses, Genjutsu, and mind-reading skills, which are powerful moves stacked together. He has been preparing for a long time. It contains information that is repeatedly circulated, continuously released in large quantities, overwhelming the information processing mechanism of the enemy's brain, and distorting the 5 senses. If he falls into this trap, unless he becomes 10 Tails Jinchuriki, Master Zen and Yang, and is immune to physical constitutions other than Sage Jutsu, he will not be able to. Who do you think can crack it after being tricked? After being tricked, it is even more difficult to crack than you, the mind-reading technique. Of course, there is nothing you can do if you don't get hit. This is the case with ninjas, where the importance of intelligence is clearly demonstrated. Go away, go home and find your children. Flying bamboo dragonfly turned around and left. The chakra consumed by the move just now was not as large as usual. Now it was only 1/10 of the total amount. If there were other Akatsuki members, it would be difficult to deal with it. Whoosh! After he left, a lantern plant emerged from the ground, revealing a black and white face. Looking at the flying bamboo dragonfly flying away, and Pain's 6 paths motionless in the air, wrapped in a ball of light. It's incredible to be able to defeat Pain's 6 paths who has the Samsara Eye. Ju muttered to himself. The power of Konoha cannot be underestimated. Thorny iron wire battlefield. Phew. The wind demon shuriken has a wind attribute change, sharply cutting through all the enemy's wooden poles, and continues to attack the Uzumaki man. And Song Yun drew dozens of snake-like animals, swimming quickly on the ground, surrounding the enemy heavily, trying to trap him and create opportunities for the thorny iron wire. Hey! Why did it suddenly become troublesome? The Uzumaki man suddenly twisted and disappeared from the place. When he reappeared, he was already behind Song Yun, reaching out to catch him. Whoosh! The moment he touched Song Yun, the space had just been distorted, and a kunai with wind attributes penetrated directly into the door, forcing him to give up this opportunity and become virtual to avoid the attack. Song Yun also used this opportunity to quickly distance himself. Be careful, the opponent's is a time and space ninjutsu. It can move within a certain distance, and the body can become virtual at any time to avoid the enemy's attack. Only when Jia comes into contact with the enemy, his body will materialize, and then he can be attacked. When it becomes empty, we can't attack him, and he can't attack us. Thorny Iron Line watched the enemy's movements during the battle and quickly analyzed the effect of the enemy's abilities. Song Yun nodded. As an assassin elite at the root, although he did not have the thorough analysis of Thorn Iron Wire, he understood instantly after listening to it. At the same time, I was surprised by this teammate. This kind of analytical ability is worthy of being selected by the 3rd generation to perform special tasks. Unfortunately, there was insufficient intelligence before and Yen Kuei was killed by the enemy. What's more, the man's method just now was actually 1st generation's wood style, which made him feel awestruck. Could this be Orochimaru's new experimental subject? It's really troublesome. Why has it suddenly become so difficult? The Uzumaki man looked at the thorny iron wire. From the very beginning, the opponent's Kamui and ninjutsu were the same ninjutsu, but the tactics and experience had obviously increased by more than one level. It was even more exaggerated than when Uchiha Madara taught him combat experience. He actually cracked his ninjutsu information in such a short period of time, just like his damn teacher. And, Sharingan's Genjutsu, at some point, was greatly hindered when entering the opponent's mental space. There was a special chakra that was interfering with the formation of his Genjutsu. It feels like it can only kill the opponent. Although the opponent is very rich in combat intuition and experience, chakra is always a weak point. Someone is coming. A playful voice sounded in the Uzumaki man's ears. Hearing this, he looked in one direction and saw a dozen figures approaching them quickly. Looking at the forehead protectors on their heads, the Uzumaki man knew that there was no chance. He took a deep look at the thorn iron wire, and the space distortion disappeared. After he left, Jishi Taisien and Song Yun breathed a sigh of relief. This enemy is too difficult. After sensing the support, Thorny Iron Line stopped the ninjutsu performed by the teacher and exited the godlike state. Suddenly my brain felt dizzy. Episode 89, The Temptation to Return to the Village. Song Yin held on to the thorn wire, his eyes flickering unclearly. He was considering whether to kill him and let Danzo-sama keep the information to himself. Whoosh! Hey, you also encountered a battle? Flying bamboo dragonfly suddenly appeared, looking at the messy field and the disciples who looked very weak at first sight. After scanning the surroundings and seeing Yen Kuei's body, he couldn't help but frown. It seemed that there was indeed an enemy, and judging from the movement and scene, the enemy was quite strong. I scanned the wooden pole inserted into the ground again, and my heart moved. Wood style, seems to be Obito's old classmate. Song Yin saw the flying bamboo dragonfly appearing and stopped what he had just thought. Suddenly, a dozen ninjas wearing Konoha forehead protectors and masks emerged from the woods nearby. Seeing the person coming, he gave a secret signal, and Song Yin said, "Well, a very powerful enemy. If Taisien hadn't used his power, maybe we would all be dead. By the way, have you gotten rid of the enemy? Well, let's go quickly, or we'll be in trouble if we catch up." Flying bamboo dragonfly looked at the several teams that appeared, and took a deep look at Song Yun. Danzo, this old boy, really wants both. He wants to have everything in his hands. Song Yun looked at the flying bamboo dragonfly, and then at the thorny iron wire in his hand, his eyes twinkling. Although flying bamboo dragonfly is powerful, there are so many people here, Wow. Before he could figure it out, another team of 4 people appeared next to him, and everyone was quickly on alert. Flying bamboo dragonfly saw the team and smiled. "Good morning, thank you for your hard work." Whether there was support from Pain or Danzo was uneasy and well-intentioned, flying bamboo dragonfly would naturally have to prepare. When he went on a mission as a spy before, he had contacted 3rd generation and prepared a team to support him. It happened that Bayun was stationed nearby to guard the border in the morning. "Thank you for your hard work." Bayun smiled in the morning. Song-Yin saw the team appearing and stopped his previous plan. There is no longer a huge disparity in strength. What are these? Only then did Flying Bamboo Dragonfly look at this group of people. That's Danzo-sama's support. The mission is completed. We'll go back first and leave him to you. Song-Yin will let go of the thorn iron wire and lead the team away without looking back. Thorny Iron Line staggered, teacher. Feiju Dragonfly supported him, well, not bad, let's go back first. Who knows if Nagato will continue to send people to chase him, or he will run away first. Whoosh. Inside the trunk. Snort. Nagato groaned, his samsara eye squeezed blood, and his whole person fell into chaos. With the imbalance of the five senses, sensory confusion, and chaotic fluctuations in the chakra in his body. Nagato, what's wrong? Seeing Nagato's situation again, Conan thought he had been hit by that person's Genjutsu again, so he quickly used the method of cracking it before and input chakra to try to disrupt Nagato's chakra and help him unlock Genjutsu. But her heart became heavier and heavier, and she realized that this trick was useless. The chakra in Nagato's body was extremely chaotic, and it was not an ordinary Genjutsu at all. Zitzi. Just as the chakra in Nagato's body became more and more chaotic, the black rod absorbing the chakra behind his back suddenly came with a strange force, allowing Nagato to calm down for a moment. Nagato regained his clarity and immediately cut off contact with six paths pain. Hoo ho ho. He was panting heavily. His thin body highlighted his frailty. What a terrible ninjutsu. Nagato was still frightened. If it weren't for Geto statue, he would have burned out his body's processing system due to the violent information. What's wrong with you? Seeing that he recovered, Conan breathed a sigh of relief and then asked. The state just now really scared her. She had never seen Nagato in such a state, and he would not be so gloomy when facing Hanzo. That guy is very strong. Tell Ju, I want all his information. Konoha. Hokage office. Sir Hokage, this is the information collected these days. There are some relatively important information in it. The rest will be handed over to Mr. Hokage. Feiju Dragonfly presented a thick volume of intelligence documents. Above are the intelligence data he recorded bit by bit, as well as the information he just compiled about Pain's six paths, as well as the information about the enemies encountered by the Thorn Iron Wire. As expected, the person whom Thorny Iron Wire encountered was Obito. Fortunately, he knew his disciple's ability and gave him the newly developed ninja tool. Whether it's Obito, Pain's six paths, or Conan's and others' information, all of them are information he has seen and heard, and each one has his attention label. He didn't remember anything he didn't see during the process. With this information, if Jiraiya has a chance to meet Pain's six paths in the future, he won't die, right? The butterfly effect this time is quite big. A lot of information in Amigakure village was suddenly exposed, part of Pain's six paths information was exposed, and part of Obito's abilities were exposed. The future plot should be out of his control, but he also has the basic ability to protect himself. In any case, the stronger he is, the less he has to worry about. Thanks for your hard work. Sarutobi Hiruzen took the information and read it carefully. Then I'll go home first. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly said with a smile. Back in Konoha, his heart has already flown back home. Well, go back, wait for me. Sarutobi Hiruzen also knows the feeling of not returning home for a long time, and Dragonfly must have been missing him. Whoosh. Before the last sentence could be finished, the Flying Bamboo Dragonfly disappeared with a whoosh. Forehead. Okay, Hiruzen Sarutobi shook his head with a smile and looked at the information. Sharingan, Samsara Eye, Wood Style. The emergence of every piece of information above is much more important than the information about Yuin Village, collected by Flying Bamboo Dragonfly. Konoha Street. Feiju Dragonfly first went to get a haircut to get herself in good spirits, and then bought a pair of sunny and handsome casual clothes, as well as new shoes. Use ninjutsu to clean away all the dirt on your body, adjust your mentality, and cleanse your body of the chilling aura caused by the mission. Immediately, a sunny and handsome man appeared. He frequently caused girls to turn their heads while walking on the street, and even caused several girls to confess their feelings. It's a pity that after learning that he was married, they all felt sorry for not meeting him earlier. On the way home, I looked at my hands, and it seemed like something was missing. After thinking for a while, he walked towards the flower shop. Yamanaka Flower Shop. After looking at the name of the store, he opened the door and walked in. Welcome. A cute girl's voice sounded in my ears. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly took a look and realized that this was Ino. At this moment, Ino is more refined, with small yellow hair, a bob that reaches the neck, and a small butterfly clip on one side of her hair. After seeing the Flying Bamboo Dragonfly, his eyes suddenly lit up. What a handsome big brother. Next to her was her mother, looking at him with a smile on her face. Hey, little Ino, long time no see, she's getting more and more beautiful. Flying bamboo dragonfly waved her hand and smiled. And Ino's mother too. Eh? The two of them looked at the familiar flying bamboo dragonfly with questions on their faces. Do they know each other? Who are you? Episode 90 Going Home, Yamanaka Flower Shop. What? You're actually a weird uncle? Ino looked at the handsome man in front of her and couldn't imagine that the weird uncle with a bandage on his face, the subordinate whom his father admired, could be so handsome. She looked at it carefully, her little face was suspicious. He wasn't lying to her, was he? Ino's mother's eyes widened when she heard that he was a flying bamboo dragonfly. Well, no wonder you don't show your face. Shopping is quite troublesome. Haha, I do have some worries. We are all people with children. I just met a few girls when I went shopping. I'm embarrassed to invite them. After returning to the village, Feiju Dragonfly was full of life. Ino pouted, damn it, the birthday gift you gave me, why is it with your head covered, and not like you are now? When I think of that figure, it's so damn ugly and embarrassing. Recently, her father has been teaching her chakra extraction. Although that thing is ugly, it is a talking thing after all. Sometimes when she is bored, she will inject chakra into it to make it talk. Good guy, it's disgusting to give her an ugly gift even though I'm so handsome. I remember that gift. As your villain, Uncle Dragonfly is the most handsome man in the world. Feiju Dragonfly said while touching his chin. Ino's eyebrows were squeezed into a well shape. Forget it, let's not tell you why you came to the flower shop. I am my mother's right-hand assistant. I understand all the language of flowers. There was pride in his voice. Ino's mother smiled and said, yes, Ino is the best and can help you. Feiju and Dragonfly scratched their heads. He had studied advanced mathematics, biology, geography, and other subjects, but he had never studied the language of flowers. When reading the enemy's memory, the focus is not here, so I'm a bit scratching my head. Well, I spent a long time on this mission and just came back, so I wanted to bring a bouquet of flowers to my wife and children. When Ino heard this, the little girl fell into thinking, and soon she came up with the idea, sunflowers, hope and sunshine, represent a positive attitude towards life and a happy mood. Tulips represent deep affection and sincere emotions. Lilac flowers represent longing and are also very suitable. Flying bamboo dragonfly thought she had some good suggestions, but she ended up saying the flower language with good meanings, as if reading a book. Let's get a bouquet of lilacs. It's quite appropriate to miss me. He ended Ino's murmur and chose a flower that represented the flower language of missing. Yes. Short-legged Ino immediately and actively packed the lilac flowers and handed them to Feiju Dragonfly. At the same time, he stretched out his little hand and looked at him with watery blue eyes. Haha. Feiju Dragonfly smiled and paid. Little Ino is so cute, he saw what his daughter will look like when she turns a few years old. It's just that Ino will become a love brain in the future and cannot learn this. He is already thinking about how to educate his daughter to stay away from pornography. Hokage office. Danzo, you actually hid such important information from me for 2 years? Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed at the information on the table with anger on his face. I am doing this for the good of Konoha. If too many people know about the existence of the Rinnegan, it will no longer be a secret. Danzo glanced at the table and said expressionlessly. He didn't know that so many things were involved this time. If he knew, he wouldn't just send this small amount of troops. In addition to the Samsara Eye, there is also Sharingan, and people who possess Sharingan can also learn wood style. It was so unexpected. He thought of Orochimaru, who could have Sharingan and wood style. He could only think of Orochimaru. Wood style's experiment was successful, and he didn't know which Uchiha person he killed, and successfully created an experimental product with 2 superpowers. This is his speculation. Bang! Sarutobi Hiruzen became even angrier when he heard this and snorted coldly, Humph, is this for Konoha? You are trying to drag Konoha into war again. According to Flying Bamboo Dragonfly's information, the current leader of the Hidden Rain Village has fully mastered the power of the Rinnegan. Once a war begins with such a person, it will cause Konoha to fall into pain again. The power of your roots is not for you to use to act arrogantly. Konoha had just come out of the war a few years ago and had just recovered its strength. He didn't want another ninja war. He was old. After experiencing 3 ninja wars, he absolutely hated war. This kind of power should not be in the hands of anyone except Konoha, Hiruzen. Danzo advised. Anyone who threatens Konoha should die. Stop it, we are not allowed to attack the owner of the Rinnegan Eye in the future. You know, Konoha can't stand too much trouble, and neither can you and me. We are all old, not young. Sarutobi High. Jean sighed. The power of the Samsara Eye. Despite Fey Bamboo Dragonfly's report, the enemy has been sealed by his trap, and there is no way to get out without special means. But, the report also said that the 6 people were suspected to be puppets. Just because it is said that the blood successor of Sage of 6 Paths, the Samsara Eye, is unlikely to have 6 pairs at the same time. Moreover, the enemy psychic beast is also a reincarnation eye, which further illustrates this point. The enemy can continuously create puppets. Even if the ability is limited, it cannot be said that they can create a legion, but 6 people are indispensable. According to Flying Bamboo Dragonfly's battle information, every 6 Paths puppet possesses power that is rare in the ninja world. It's not easy to target, and in this battle, Fey Bamboo Dragonfly's abilities are also partially known to the enemy. It's impossible to set up another trap to seal the enemy's puppet. You will regret it, Hiruzen. Danzo glanced at him dissatisfied. Then let's talk about Uchiha. I didn't expect that they also mastered wood style. Combined with their current martial arts philosophy, they can no longer let the concept evolve. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this and closed his eyes. Uchiha. Konoha streets. Demon Fox, go away, I won't sell anything to you. It's all your fault that my husband died. Go away, don't appear in front of me again. You're not welcome here. We don't want to play with you, you are a demon fox, you will eat us. Flying Bamboo Dragonfly was holding lilac flowers and walking on the way home. Suddenly she heard a movement and looked over. I saw little Naruto running around with his head in his arms, resisting the indiscriminate bombardment of the residents. His expression was still depressed. After a while, she rushed over to him, bumped into his legs, and fell backwards. Ah, it hurts. Little Naruto looked up and saw a tall figure appearing with a pair of bright eyes, looking at him with a smile. Hey, long time no see, little Naruto. Eh? Are you Uncle Dragonfly? Little Naruto felt his breath and was very familiar with it, but his handsome face made him wonder if he had recognized the wrong person. Shaking his head, he couldn't admit it. This was Uncle Dragonfly. Even if he hadn't seen him for more than a year, he still remembered this uncle who didn't look at him strangely. After the last fishing and singing incident, Naruto had been looking forward to seeing his uncle again, but he didn't expect to see him again for more than a year, which made him give up. Unexpectedly, he saw it again now, and his eyes gradually brightened.